Hey guys, have a fun activity for you today. We're going to use a green screen to isolate you, and we're going to bring it into a scene. So I have a picture of a student right here. You're going to take a picture similar to that. We have a picture of the Nepali coast. And the Nepali coast is where they shot Jurassic Park, and that's in Kauai, one of the islands in Hawaii. And we're going to take this helicopter and we're going to bring them all together to create a scene that looks like this. So follow along with me, it should be fun. Go ahead and open up Photoshop. And the first thing I want you to do is open up the picture of the helicopter. So I'm going to go ahead and open the picture of the helicopter. And that's on my desktop. It's that one right there. Alright, so we have a picture of a helicopter right here. We're going to have to use a combination of selection techniques, masks, to isolate this the best we can. So the first step I want you to utilize is color range. So let's go to select on the menu bar, color range, and I'm going to use my color range right there. I got the plus button right there. I'm going to drop this down. I don't know why it's selected so much. Let me try it this way. I'm going to click right on my canvas right here. It should do a better job up there. I might need to bump my fuzziness up just a little bit. Too much. Looks like it gives me pretty good selection there. And let me see what I have. If I hit OK here, I'm looking along my selection there. It's pretty good. Actually, let me deselect it. Command D to deselect it. Let me try it again. Select color range. Let me go in there, add to this selection, and just bump this up just a little bit to increase the detail it gives me on this. So you can see it's going through, and what I wanted to do is get these edges really good right there. And it did a pretty good job. I'm going to have to do a few extra steps to get it exactly how I want, but this is pretty good to start off with. You see it has some stuff inside selected that I don't want selected, but we can fix that. So let's go to select on the menu bar and inverse. And now the helicopter is selected, and I'm going to mask it away. Alright, so that's what I'm left with. I'm going to zoom in, and you're going to see some areas of the helicopter that aren't there. So for instance, the front part of this windshield is gone. So let me go ahead, and I think I know about where it goes right there. I'm going to grab my pen tool, and with a path selected, I'm going to zoom up here because I know the windshield is there. I just need to bring it back on my mask. So the windshield is going to go from there to about there. So I'm going to go curve it. I'm going to curve it out just a little bit. You may not know how to do this yet, but I can help you in class. So then I'm resetting an anchor point by holding the Option key and clicking right there, 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 and there. The only thing I want to do was create a selection in this area. So I can go to Selection right there, OK. And it's going to select this area on my mask. And with that area selected, I can grab my color whites on a paintbrush, bump up my brush size, and simply paint over the top of that. It's going to bring that window back that was missing, right? I'm going to hit Command D to deselect that area, and then I'm just going to paint this area back as well. So everything that was taken away right there, I'm going to paint back, and you can see I've got my windshield back on the helicopter now, and this is simply done with the color white on a mask, so white will show pixels. I'm going to go through here and bring these pixels back because it looks like color range took those out as well, and along this door. And anywhere else I think there might be pixels that are gone from the original masking. So this takes a little time to go through and search where you want to fix the parts of the helicopter. So I'm just going to brush over. Anywhere I think there might have been a problem. Let me bump my brush size down here, and let me see what was sitting here. Yeah, right, so there's parts of the helicopter. Do I need that? No, that was all part of the sky. So let me just, right there, I think this was part of the helicopter as well. And I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good as far as that part goes. Now, my area of concern are these blades right here. So I'm going to utilize the same method I just did, which was the pen tool. So grab your pen tool, and we're going to focus on the front part of this blade right here. Is it called the rotor? I'm not sure what it's called. All right, so I'm gonna put I have path right there. I'm gonna take my pen tool right about there, go out to about here, there, back to about here, and then connect the original path. So what that is gonna do is make a selection, or make a path in this area that I will convert to a selection with 0 feather. And when that brings it back, on my mask, color white, brush, I'm gonna bump my brush up and simply paint over this area. It's gonna bring my rotor back. I hit Command D, and that's what I'm left with, right? So I got the front part of my blade back, and I'm gonna do the same on the back. So with the pen tool, I'm gonna go there, and the best I can see it. You know, this doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but selection, 0 feather, and with my paintbrush, white on my paintbrush on my mask, I can paint that back and hit Command D. So as I zoom out, I now have a pretty good selection of this helicopter. So let's go ahead and apply the layer mask. So right click, apply layer mask, okay, and let's bring this over to the picture of the Nepali coast. So I'm going to have to open that up. So File and Open, and it's on my desktop. It's this one. And before I bring it over, I want you to look down here where it has the name on it. We're going to go ahead and use the patch tool to patch that away. So with my patch tool, I'm going right there, and remember, if you can't find your patch tool, go up here and type patch tool. So all you want to do with the patch tool is draw around the object, and then it'll give you the marching ants that it's selected. And at that point, with the patch tool still selected, pull in the direction you want to replace the pixels with. So if I want to replace them from the ones to the left, I move it that direction and let go. I hit Command D, and I've now patched that area, and it's really hard to even tell I did anything. So I simply patched pixels from right next to where it was. All right, so that's the background image we want to use. And go ahead and bring your helicopter over at this point. So Move tool, move it over to the Nepali coast, and drop it. All right, we have a helicopter. Pretty good looking selection, although I kind of see along the edge I might need to modify this a little bit. So I'm going to use the defringe method we used way back at the beginning of the class with the balloon. So with that layer active, I want to go to Layer on the menu bar, all the way down to Matting, and let's choose Defringe, and let's try 8 pixels because this is a large image. And when I do that, it takes away a lot of that edge that was there, and it gives us a cleaner selector picture. All right, so now I'm moving out just a little bit. I'm obviously going to need to size the helicopter down. So I'm going to hit my Show Transform controls, and let me hold the Shift key. All right, so I'm holding the Shift key, grabbing the corner sizing handle, and that will allow me to size it down uniformly. All right, so the same width as it is height, and maybe I didn't want to go quite that small. All right, so maybe right about there, and then commit your transformation. All right, so that's the size. I also need to, I'm going to rotate this, because if you've ever seen a helicopter going fast, when they're going fast, they're kind of tilted down because the blades are making it propel forward faster than just staying stationary. So if I tilt this forward just a little bit, that's going to indicate it's moving forward at a high rate of speed. All right, that's what I have there. I'm going to uncheck my Show Transform controls, and I'm left with this image. Now, we need to bring the picture of you, or I'm using a student, so I'm going to open that. So File and Open. And I've got it right here. All right, so this was shot in front of the green screen. Unfortunately, we have kind of a small green screen, so we're going to have to do some some adjustments by hand on the mask. So first thing I want you to do, go ahead and let's drop that green screen. So let's use color range. So select on the menu bar and color range, and I'm just going to click on the green. Let me click on the, all right, so the initial selection there. I don't know why when I had the plus it selected the gray in his shirt. So go with the initial, and then you can go in here and just clean up the areas that you see kind of speckled colors. And we're just looking for a nice clean contrast along the edge. So this setting of 40 with the pixels I have selected, this looks pretty good. So green is what is selected, and we're going to flip that around. So let's go select on the menu bar, inverse, and let's now mask it away. All right, so we have a picture of Malik there, or the student, and it's going to require a lot of work just with the green casting. You can see all the green casting that was there, that the color green still casts onto our image. Actually, I'm going to go back and adjust this a little bit. So let me go Command, get it back to this point, and we go select on the menu bar, color range. Let me get this, and let me bump this up maybe to take it up to about 60 and see what I have. Okay. And this might give me a little cleaner selection. Let me just zoom in. Okay, that looks better. So I'm going to go to select on the menu bar, inverse, and mask it away. Alright, so this gave it a little better selection. I still need to clean it up, but I can work with that. Alright, so let's go ahead and get rid of everything you don't want there. So I'm just going to go ahead and, with my paintbrush, color black, I'm going to bump up the size. Because I'm on the mask, I can simply hide these pixels by painting over the top, right? So I get rid of the big parts first, and I'll have to go in there by hand and clean up the other parts in just a minute. Alright, so that's what I have right there. And so now I need to go in and clean it up just a little bit. So with my brush, the black brush, I'm going to go in and I'm going to use a method and apply it to the mask all the way around. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the edge of this mask by, I'll show you how. Alright, so let's start up here. We'll go up by his hand right there. Let me bump my brush size about to that right there. And maybe one smaller. Okay, that size. With the color black, I'm going to press once right there, hold shift with my left hand, and I'm going to go right there. And then I'll go down here, hold shift, bring it down there. And this allows me to go along the edge of my masked image and modify it. And we have to do this when we're printing senior banners, because we get all kinds of casting in those. So it's just one part of the process. This takes some time. So I'm going to be doing this all the way around the edge of this. So if you want to fast forward till I'm done going along the edge, you feel free to do that. But the next step after I go along the edge, I'm going to have to go around the edge a second time with what's referred to as my color replacement tool. So you'll want to pause the video at that point and listen to what I'm telling you to do. Otherwise you won't know how to do it. So this is me just cleaning up the edge of this image. Once again, just holding shift to run these. I need to bump the brush size down there. Not small enough. And I'm kind of going fast with this. on the hair. So we try to eliminate as much of the green casting as we can using the map. What happened there? I don't remember. So we're going to just try to remove this part right here the best we can, and we're going to use our color replacement tool in other areas. Okay. So we've done that part. There's still some green casting. We're going to use a tool that's called the color replacement. So where your brush is, if you hold it down, find the color replacement tool, or you can go up to your search feature up here. And this tool needs to be, the original image needs to be selected, not the mask. So we select the original image, and what you do is you go along and you sample the color that it's next to. So because I'm on the image, I've got my color replacement tool, I'm holding the option key. So the option key with my left hand, I'm going to sample the hair color right there, bump up my brush size, make sure my tolerance is at 100, mode's color, and because the mask is there, I can just paint along the edge of that, and it's going to replace that color with what I have. So we get rid of that ugly green casting from the green screen and get the natural color of his hair in there, your hair in there. So that's what we want, and we're going to go do the same thing the edge of the clothing as well, but we need to sample each time. So right here, to sample that color, option key with my left hand, sample it, and just paint over this area. It's going to get rid of that ugly green casting. And I'll go ahead and do the same with this darker gray. So option key, sample the darker gray, and all these areas that have the green casting that I don't want. Go along the edge of here too. We did a pretty good job with the edge of the mask fixing that. I'm going to do the same thing along his hand right there. So option key, sample skin, and just go along the edge and get rid of that ugly green casting, okay? That's just a result of the green screen. So, whoops. Alright, so get that how you want it. And I'm going to go back. The edge of this looks good. I don't have any problems there. That looks good. I guess I have some right along the edge of his leg just a little bit. So option key, just sample the color there and just try to get rid of that green wherever you see it, okay? Same thing this side. And since I got the skin chosen, I'm going to go along this side and this side as well. It just gets rid of, oops, too far down on the, I want to paint into the sock. Alright, so that's just replacing that color. I'm going to do the same thing with socks, so sample the sock, go along the edge right there. And just go through this side as well. And this one too. Now it's looking pretty good. The shoe, I'll sample the white in it and just go along this bottom edge to fix that. This one's fine on that side. Just looking for the green casting there. I do have some there, so let me go to the gray right here and go along that edge right up there and fix that. Fixing that one. And we're getting close here, folks. Fix that, and that edge as well. Sample that, and go along there. And I think that hand looks pretty good, don't have an issue with that. So as I zoom out, I've cleaned this picture up pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the layer mask. So right click it, apply layer mask. And let me just go ahead and bring him over to the image within the Poly Coast. I know he's going to come in really big. So show transform controls, Command Z to zoom way out. I'm going to hold Shift and size him down. And then let's go ahead and zoom in. Alright, so this is what I'm left with. Now, maybe I'll have him hold on to the tail of the helicopter. That might look cool. Anyway, I want you to focus on, let's just going to hide the student. I want you to focus on the window of the helicopter. That doesn't look realistic right there, all right? Because I can see the blue sky And if I was looking through that window, I would see the mountain. So what we need to do is go ahead and select that helicopter. Go ahead and select that helicopter and add a mask. So just add a mask. All right, so now on that mask, with your magic wand tool, I want you to go ahead and click in the area inside that window and click on this area as well. Get that little spot right there. And make sure you add two buttons to select two. Let me add this as well. Where is my quick selection tool? So I'm going to size that down because I need to make sure this area is selected too. So now I selected that. That's what I want. So I have this area that's selected of the windshield. My mask is chosen. What I'm going to do is this with my regular brush tool. Okay, brush tool, the color black in the selection on the mask. So repeat, brush tool, color black, mask is selected. I need to look at my opacity setting up here. I don't want just to be the mountains just as bright through the windshield as without the windshield. I want it to be somewhat look like the windshield's still there. So I'm going to go up to my opacity setting here and type 50. So this is basically going to hide the pixels 50%. So with my mask chosen black, this selected opacity 50, I'm bumping my brush size bigger than the selected area, and I'm clicking one time. All right. So that hid those pixels 50%, not 100%, just 50%. Now I'm going to hit Command D. Now that looks pretty realistic. That looks like I'm looking through the windshield and can still see what's behind it. So that's exactly what I wanted. Let me Command minus, and let's go ahead and show the student. All right, so let's go take this to, let's try 55% because I want to see the whole picture. And let's size the student down. So shift, hold shift. All right, and he's holding on to that now. Helicopter's moving forward at a fast pace, so is the student. All right, so how about this? Okay, right about there, rotate. And I'm gonna zoom in. So I have a little issue here with the hand angle, and I knew this was gonna be the hard part. Okay, so how can we make it look like he's holding on right there to what we have? So I'm gonna go ahead. You can use your paintbrush. Actually, I'm gonna use my pen tool. Let me grab my pen tool right here, and as a path, I'm just gonna go. I'll teach you guys how to use the pen tool. All right, so I made it that selected area. Notice I created a curve that mimicked the shape of his thumb right there, and then I went on the hand like this just to kind of go straight along the edge of that bar. All right, made a selection, and I'm gonna go to Layer, New, via Cut. And what this is gonna allow me to do is to move this portion of his hand, right? All right, so now I have that, he's holding on. Let's zoom out a little bit. That doesn't look bad from that angle, does it? Looks like he's holding on with the bottom part, but how can we position the top part to make it look like it's holding on? So let's go ahead and let's try let's see if we can just, let's not do that. Let's go ahead and take this image right here and let's flip it vertically and see if that will allow us to manipulate some of it. So let's go to, I'm going to go to Edit on the menu bar, Transform, and it's on this layer with the top part of his hand, so I'm going to put, we'll call it fingers. That's that layer. I'm going to go to Edit on the menu bar, Transform, and let's go to Flip Vertical. Okay, so we're now Is that what I want? Let's see if I can rotate that. I did this earlier and I did it slightly different way. So I'm just using transform features to try to make this look as realistic as I can. I don't really like how that's coming out. That doesn't look realistic. Alright, let me go to my edits. Let's go to transform. We're going to use some distort. I messed that up bad. Alright, let me see if I can resize it. Distortion doesn't look bad. Well, I think it's going to be a struggle with the hand right there, so I think I'll have to go back and play around with that, but everything else looks pretty good. Let's see. Let me go back into history real quick and let's see if I can. There it is. I took it back in time to the point where I just cut his hand. Alright, so let's do that. Let me see if I can just make it simple. Let's put a layer mask on it with brush and bump my brush down black. I'm just going to paint away part of, take that back to 100. And bring that down. Let me rotate it. Commit it, and we only need the top part of the fingers to show, right? So I can paint away what's sitting there. That looks a little better. Okay, so it looks like he's holding on. Looks pretty good. All right, so that's what we're left with. I think that's all I wanted to show you here, but we're utilizing layer mask, adjusting the edge of the mask with the brush and the shift key. We are using color replacement to achieve this. So I think that looks pretty good. It's what I want you to do, so hopefully have fun. Take care, guys.